everybody, and welcome to the 6th annual SOTO meet here in downtown Garden Grove. I'm your host for the day with Raz Video, Dyno Don Chamberlain. Follow me in the next few segments with some great action. Also joining me for the day will be the SOTO Club president and my friend Steve Nye, along with fellow enthusiast Ken Layton. Take it away, Steve.
This was a great SOTO meet this time around. We had over 400 buses and many spectators.
Where did some of the spectators come from, Ken?
From as far as Canada to South America.
All right. Steve, have you kind of met some of these people?
Oh yeah, we get to talk to all different people during the day. It's real hard to just picture all the faces that go with the names, but God, we sure meet a lot of people, and they're all happy to be here. It's really fun.
Kenny, what time did you get here in the morning?
We got there about 6 o'clock, and there was already a lineup outside the gate ready to get in. In fact, we even had some people spending the night that camped out just to get in there early enough to get a good spot.
Oh, what I really want to know is who's in charge of parking these vans to get them looking so good in the morning?
We have a team that comes out with us, and they're pretty well experienced with the meets, and they understand what we want and know what to do.
Well, what you're about to see, folks, are some absolutely phenomenal looking vehicles. And Steve, why don't you tell us something more about some of these vehicles that are here today?
Well, this show's for pre-67 Type 2s, and we get quite a variety of them. We get barn doors, we get nice deluxes. God, we get a whole list of them. At this 6th anniversary meet, we had over 400 buses. The anniversary meets are always one of the biggest meets of the year, and over the years, this being the 6th one, we've gotten quite a heavy amount of turnout. Here comes a 59 double-door panel, and there's a 62 double cab that belongs to Stuart Hamill from the bus stop. This is Steve Herron, past president of the Vintage Volkswagen Club, and Tony Smith from Laguna Beach, California. They've been into it for a lot of years.
Here's a topside view of a lot of the vehicles that are parked on the premises. Steve and Ken, why don't you tell us how long has the SOTO Club actually been around, and what kind of job does it take to keep it running?
Well, the SOTO Club's been around for almost 6 years now, and it's a full-time job for somebody to run this club. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things happening. You got to coordinate meets. I worked along with Jeff for a long time when he first started the club with about 5 or 6 members back in the early days, and we've been going strong ever since, and it's been fun taking over for Jeff. I've seen a lot of nice buses since I've been in the club. Here's a real nice Westphalia camper with the tent and awning set up. It shows you what people can do at the meet.
What are some of the other options that they offered on some of these vehicles, and what do they range from in price? I heard the roof racks are the hot item of the day. Maybe you can tell us something about those.
Well, the roof racks are really becoming popular because a lot of people don't want to wreck the inside of their bus, and the easiest thing to do is throw it up on the roof. The roof racks don't do any damage to the car. They fit on real nice. They were made to come on and off in a short amount of time. They made several different kinds of roof racks. Here's a Westphalia camper roof rack turned upside down on top of a late model Volkswagen of America roof rack. Find these roof racks in parts piles all over the place. Hey, there's Sean Spinache from Northern California. He's restored many a roof rack in his day. He's probably got 1 or 2 for sale, or probably got a bunch of them hidden behind his truck there on the ground. There's some more roof racks. There's a company up north that makes them. There's a guy down in San Diego that reproduces the Westphalia roof racks. And these here are some original ones that have been restored. They came in many lengths. They came small, medium, long. He's got the ladder on his that fits the roof rack so you could get up and down. These ladders weren't permanently attached. They had rubber feet on them, and you just hung them from the top. Oh, he brought another girlfriend with him this time, too.
What are you guys selling?
You can buy anything at one of these meets.
Are you kidding?
There's another roof rack. That one goes from the front to the rear, and you can haul a lot of stuff on top of one of those. I've seen this early double-door panel running around South Laguna for a long time now with full loads of wood up on the roof. They use this in their construction business and do a lot of home repairs down in the big houses in Laguna. This is a Westphalia rack turned right side up. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. They fit any bus besides a camper. Oh, looks like this guy's missing the hard-to-find clamps for this particular style rack. He had it tied down with a piece of rope. These racks have been reproduced from the original Westphalia style rack. The guy does an excellent job, and they look great on these cars, don't they? The original rack looks like this one right here, and they came on campers, and you could also buy them for deluxes. Racks also fit double cabs. This rack here fits nicely on the late model double cab. Here's a nice 60 Deluxe. This was one of the beauties that was out there for sale that day and sold for around $6,000. This car was very original.
Well, I know from originality to cow lookers, you've had a lot of different vehicles show up here, and probably in the last 6 meets. Is that right?
Yes, we have. Some of the cow look buses are really nice, though. They have a lot of good ideas out there. There's Steve Heron, past president of Vintage Club.
Here's an interesting vehicle here. Why don't you tell us something about this one, Steve?
Well, campers are real good for the SOTO meets because the people really get into bringing their own food and doing their own thing, and with this one here, it looks like they've got their cook stove set up, their chairs ready to go. They could have a fun day. This bus also happens to have a factory sunroof in it, which is also a nice idea. You can roll that open, you can sit inside and enjoy the view while you're having your lunch. This bus has an interesting story. It was bought by 3 people from Australia when they came to the United States. They lived in it for 3 months and then sold it at the SOTO meet. It was in very good condition, and they really enjoyed their stay in it, and they wish they could have taken it home, but the amount of money to take it home was just too unbelievable for them.
Here at the 6th annual SOTO meet, they had a lot of cow lookers that came down to grace the area also. Here's one of the cow lookers right here on the ground with the cut fender wells and the custom seats inside, and it looks like it might be even a sunroof. We have a lot of types here. Here's a blue one coming up here, another cow looker with the chrome front bumpers and the suicide doors, the empty polished wheels, and some of the louvers removed with the chrome louvers in place, and no engine deck lid with all the chrome and the polished aluminum. Here's Howie with one of the participants right now.
So, how'd you get started in V-dubs?
Well, tell you the truth, I was about 18 years old, and my next door neighbor had a Volkswagen, 1970, and I sat in the car, and I fell in love with Volkswagens.
That was it, huh?
That was it.
How many you had since then?
I have 4 right now. This is my bus, only has 41,000 original on it.
So is it true that if you leave them overnight, they breed, and the next day there's 2 and 3 of them?
That is true. That is very true.
Well, enjoy the SOTO meet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Here's a great look at the many parts that are for sale here at the SOTO meet, everything from A to Z and in between.
That's been one of the highlights of the meet, the parts. Here's a very expensive item on this truck. The canvas covers are really rare and very hard to find. They come in different sizes, heights. They come for double cabs and single cabs. They're very practical, just like a camper shell.
Well, talking about practical, I wonder how practical this would be on the highway. That's a super customized early VW van with the suicide doors and the recliner seats and the alloys and the eyelid brows and the custom paint job, all the things that make this a low-profile cow-look vehicle, which always likes to compete in stereo boom outs. Here's a part of the stereo box right there in the white. There's both of them in the back of the vehicle. Some of these systems can cost up to $7,000 and more. Here's a clean example of a stock camper van that came here during midday. A beautiful looking vehicle that was camped out by the side of the road. Hi girls, how you doing? And we see some more memorabilia. Atuna! Here's a great example of some of the fine memorabilia being shipped with these vehicles on through the 40s and 50s. A lot of memorabilia here today at the SOTO 6th annual meet.
Yeah, some of the things that do show up at this anniversary meet are pretty bizarre.
How bizarre are they, Steve?
Well, we'll be showing you a few of the examples here in just a moment when Howie interviews one of the people.
So your bus is kind of a billboard, huh?
Yeah, I call it community art, and I come out from work, it's got something new on it every day. Pretty much, it's community art, and if you got a car like this, you might as well do it.
Sure. How long you been involved in VWs?
Well, bought my first VW when I was 16, so it's been just over 3 years, and this is my third one. I've had 2 more. As you can see, there's one behind me and then it's getting parted out, and I don't know, buses are in my blood, pretty much.
Are they the only thing you use for billboards?
Yeah, definitely, because I don't want to vandalize anything, and it's just wrong.
They're kind of special for that. They lend themselves, huh?
Yeah, them people say they look like a toaster. I mean, toaster even fits on a license plate, but I don't know. It works for me. It's fun. That's all there is to it. It's a Volkswagen bus. You got to have fun with it. That's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for.
That sure was an interesting bus. It looks like a rolling billboard. This red, white, and blue paint job looks rather patriotic. I wonder what he thinks about flag burning. It's got alloys and looks like somebody cut the engine vents for more air cooling.
Here's a good example of one of the camper vehicles out here with somebody no doubt enjoying themselves.
This one here has removable sides, so it can have just the part on top up there to sit underneath. They came in many different colors. This one's a red and white striped one to go with this white bus.
Cowabunga, Steve! Surf's up! Check this beauty out with a palm tree and all the amenities of the beach.
As we're moving through the SOTO meet, here's a nice example of a restored deluxe combi with the two-tone paint. It looks like coming up behind it is one that's under restoration with safari windows. It appears to be a semi-deluxe, which was a deluxe with no sunroof. Usually these come with the chrome around the middle, but it looks like they've taken it off of this one.
Here's SOTO Street, the 2600 block south, where all the babes from Southern California, that's right, come to the SOTO meet.
We do have some good-looking SOTO members. We also have a lot of nice SOTO cars. Look at this single cab. It has an original canvas, and note how the side rolls up with the little tie hooks. Check the Corvette alloys. They look great on this bus. Here's a barn door. I think it's a 54. It was used in a Volkswagen commercial at one time. The present owner looks like he's having a good time with it.
Here's one bad bus right here with the louvers on the back end.
Well, I wonder where that muffler came from and those unique taillights. They stick out pretty far from the bus. Deluxe here is great. I love that color. It looks like all it needs is a couple of bumpers and a little bit of detail and it'll be finished. It looks to be about a 62 or 3.
Here's another view of some of the vehicles that were parked at the 6th annual SOTO meet. Hi, how you doing? As you can see from this Raz video presentation, ladies and gentlemen, there's absolutely a lot of room for these vehicles, and the families and the children all had a great time out here today. Here's Barry Johnson, the owner of many a VW thing, and he's giving away some parts here today, and also he's in charge of the raffle prizes later on today here at the SOTO meet. Take it away, Howie.
Is this where you come for miscellaneous parts like this?
You bet. $1 a piece. I mean, you can't beat the stuff. It's great.
And you can't buy it anymore any other place?
Yeah, this is the happening place. This is it.
Happening, that's right. There's no other place in the entire world that you can get the gathering of the most beautiful and prestigious 66 or 67 and earlier vehicles.
Here's some heavy parts negotiating going on. There's a lot of that goes on during a SOTO meet.
I don't know about you, but I kind of like his shorts myself, Steve.
They are pretty wild. There's a lot of wild stuff goes on. Look at that wild double cab in the background. Sucker's lowered, isn't it?
It's all the way down past the speed bumps. We saw this guy coming in this morning, and you couldn't believe the sound it made.
So look, I'll give you a quarter for everything here, all right?
How's that sound?
You got it.
I do it.
That was easy, that was easy. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're
We're staying alive, getting ready for the raffle. You know, get it going, yeah.
Big day. When a couple hours ago there was only a couple of rows there, and then all at once it's filled clear to the back now.
Look at the size of it.
I don't know how many cars
Big now.
there is.
It's bigger than last year, I think.
Definitely is, yeah.
And if they count
Just
the
as
other
much
10
fun
cars are out in the parking lot, why?
So no thing parts today?
I saw a guy down here selling some, you know, but he wanted too much.
Tomorrow.
I give a lot better deal. And that's my shop out Barry's Boneyard over in Costa Mesa, 536-5146.
Of course, we would never plug Barry's Boneyard, but
Look at that panel van. It's lowered real low, got a roof rack, it's got a side step that slips in the jack ports, eyebrows. That thing's set up all the way, even
Well,
safari windows.
What year would you say that was? It's got the blinkers on the front, so what years did
It's
those have?
probably late 50s, early 60s.
As always, it's a tradition for lots of people to get together and just shoot the breeze at these SOTO meets.
This bus here has the wide back door. It must be a 64 and later. They changed the back door in 64. The earlier ones have the narrow back door like this. This one appears to be at least a 57 and earlier because it has the brake light deck lid. Oh, that one there doesn't have a back door at all.
As we continue on through the SOTO meet, we've got a lot of unusual buses here. What about this one here, Steve?
Well, this one's a combi microbus. This only has 3 windows on the side instead of having the 4th window or the corner window. The Combi microbuses had 2-tone paint and the regular combis only had 1 color. They made these models in all different styles and walk-through was an option. This used to be a camper because it has the flip hatch over the passenger side doors.
Looks like they're sort of putting that one back together. And here's the Party Animal SOTO van right here. We got a lot of the guys that just took a break out of the day. Here's some more parts. And what's this one here, Steve?
That looks like a double door panel with a camper interior inside of it. It looks like they've got that one pretty low too, and they got the spare hanging out
They've really
front.
got these things slammed to the ground. You're going to be seeing a lot of these white and, what color would you call it, Steve? Aqua green 2-stage paint jobs?
Well, I can't identify the color because it's not a stock color, but it looks like it's twins in the background.
Well, they sure do look good.
Yeah, here's a nice red and white deluxe combi, and right next to it is a semi-deluxe with no sunroof.
Yeah, and there's a difference between these two. Tell us the distinction between the two models.
Well, the one has chrome around the middle and an extra side window like we talked about earlier.
Okay, and here's some strange bumper brackets on this one, right?
Yeah, this was an early bumpered car. He's probably having trouble finding the bumpers. They were from April of '58 and earlier.
What about the blue blinkers on this model here?
Well, it looks like they took some spray paint and sprayed those in and put some eyebrows on it too.
Here's another custom bus as we come up here from the rear.
Yeah, they chromed their early bumper. That must have taken a lot of work to get that bumper like it is, because those are hard to find.
Well, would you say that they put just as much into the cowlookers as they do in the stock original one, Steve?
Probably a lot more because of all the chroming and everything else that has to happen.
I noticed that the ratio here for stock versus cowlookers is overwhelming for the stock people. Is that right?
Well, a lot more people go for stock, but the cowlook buses sure are nice. I've seen some beauties.
How about the dollar value? What kind of dollar value are they, how are they kind of reaching right now in the market as far as should you restore one stock original or do it cowlook?
Well, you can go either way, but when you start going cowlook, you've got to do it for yourself because it's hard to find somebody that likes what you've done to the car. It's much easier if you do it stock, and a lot more people like it. A lot more people don't have to get used to the certain little things.
Here's our clean looking one right down here in front of us.
Yeah, they had safari windows in that one. The deluxe sunroofs are probably the most popular because they have so much more flexibility to them. Narrow back door had corner windows, the wide back door didn't. When they went to the wider back door, they took away the place where the corner windows should go. This one here is a real nice version of a deluxe. It has the sunroof. The models without the sunroof that had all the chrome and trim were $150 less. This camper is probably a 67. All the later 67s had backup lights. The early 67s didn't.
Now, would that be considered a Westphalia camper?
Yes, that was a Westphalia model. It came with the pop top. The early models came with the hatch.
Oh, there it is right there again.
Look at the deluxes. There's a lot of deluxes at this meet. That's probably, like I say, the most popular bus because of what it is.
You know, I sure have been seeing a lot of them being fixed up around here in Orange County lately.
I think there was probably a lot more panel vans than deluxes. It's just the deluxes became more popular in the later years.
Well, I know they seem to be overwhelming. Like I said, here in Orange County, I see a lot of them down by the coast and all around the beach area.
Back in the 60s, bug and bus cramming was a big thing to see how many people you could get into a car. It looks like these guys have carried it on into the 80s with their deluxe. That's a good thing that they had the sunroof to get all those people in there.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. We're still
bitching there.
About 20. We're still sober, so you know.
You know, the record's about 105 here, I think.
Well, we could probably, we don't want to wreck the bus packing people in here. We want to get home. Slow down.
That's what I call a loaded bus, huh?
All the beer. Got a case in here. This is the other way we could lower it. So we have enough time.
Guinness World Book of Records. I know they have a total number for that. I'm not sure what it is. I know at Orange County we recently got 56 people in a Vanagon, but I think a Vanagon's about twice as large as one of these.
Looks like a pretty nice double cab. Fresh paint and chrome bumpers and everything. Looks like they've got it up for sale. I wonder if they sold it by the end of the day.
Steve, do a lot of these guys sell their buses at these SOTO meets?
Well, if they're asking the right price, they do. It's definitely one of the better places to take them because you've got the people looking for only that type of a car.
So in other words, it's okay to bring them out and they have an area for sale, or they just bring them out and put the signs up?
You just bring them out and put them in with the rest of them. The people walking through get a good look at them.
You know, Steve, I've seen this van a long time. He can't seem to sell it, and I don't think it has anything to do with the rust, does it?
No, it's the availability of parts that kills that car.
And the rust, huh? What do you think?
Well, it's a little rough there, too. And
Steve, here's a look at one of the super cool deluxe models. If you look at the front here, the blinkers have been shaved and brought down to coincide with the Rossi headlamp units, which have now been replaced in the front. And Steve, look at this unit. Tell us about this.
Well, this is a 52 barn door deluxe. They are rare, but a car in this condition can cost you a fortune. This car has pretty much had all the good things picked over on it.
How the heck would you even begin to create a restoration on something that rusty?
Well, you got to find one just like it somewhere. See the parts in the background?
A lot of parts all over the SOTO meet, huh?
Yeah, somewhere in those piles may be the parts you need, but chances are they're not.
You know, Steve, I've been looking all morning for my popcorn. Now I know who finally has it. Well, at least I know this youngster is really enjoying himself, just like these guys from San Jose. These guys brought out all the machinery from San Jose. They came down in over 3 buses with about 20 people. They had a great time out here at SOTO, just like everyone else.
In the European countries, cars like this double cab were used for city vehicles. They were used for just about anything. Double door models were ordered for their convenience. This combi here has been lowered and has imitation 5 spokes on it.
Sort of a cow looker.
Yeah, this yellow and white combination is becoming quite popular, as it has been in the past. This one here has dark tinted windows, and they've added the chrome from the deluxes. This model.
What about the fender wells on this one here, Steve? Have they been cut out or removed, or is it just because they had a smaller tire in the fender well?
Well, cut fender wells have happened to a lot of buses. That was a 60s thing. People thought that putting wide tires on the cars helped the stability of them, so they cut quite a few of them up. They're fairly easy to be replaced. You just get fender wells out of another car and put them back in again.
Yeah. Hang loose, bro. These guys came down to the SOTO meet, had a great time, couldn't stop laughing half of the day.
Looks like they had a pretty nice bus for sale. I wonder what happened with that one during the day.
Before, haven't we?
Could be. I know that it was priced pretty much right at $20,000.
Like they all are.
Yeah, that's right. Steve, what seems to be the appearing going rate for these vehicles nowadays?
Well, it's really hard to say. It depends on the car and everything that goes along with it and the person buying it. It's almost better to buy a restored one because somebody's already dumped the major amount of money into them, and all you have to do is just go in, take it over, and finish up whatever little bits you don't like, and that's it.
I know that's one way I like to buy cars personally, is a person that's invested a lot, and they know they can't get their investment actually out of the vehicle, so you actually get a good deal. Both parties are happy because they have an initial investment back, but you have their initial project that's been completed.
Yeah, and it sure, like I say, makes it a lot easier. You don't have to go find the parts or anything. The Japanese market's up there too right now.
Yeah. Well, I know with the yen being worth a lot of money in Japan, a lot of Japanese buyers are coming over to snatch these things up. And I know I personally have had some dealings with them. What about you, Steve?
I've seen an awful lot of nice buses go. All my friends have sold something to them in the past, and they've bought a lot of cars. I'm sure they've bought a few at this meet, too.
Of course, there's a lot of guys holding on to their machinery now also to retain the value of the vehicle until it drives itself up, and they can make their money. Is that right?
Well, the more cars that leave the States, the more the cars that are still here are worth, and they're taking a good 50 cars a month away, so it's got to be making our cars here look a little bit better.
Well, I tell you, one thing is for sure, that the people over there in Japan definitely have to take care of these vehicles because they have a lot of legislation that if the car is not roadworthy, that car gets taken off the road. And if it gets taken off the road, they lose their investment value as well.
And they're real into making sure that they get their investment value. They are definitely picky on what they buy. Our SOTO members are a lot like that too, and I guess you really have to be when you start putting out the money that some of these things cost. This deluxe you see in the background with the fancy paint job, that belongs to Hermine Stover from Bathing About, that was in a couple of our newsletters. She's been working on this idea for this paint job for a long time. This particular bus came out of a wrecking yard originally, and she's brought it back pretty much all by herself. She's real handy.
These people here are just having a swap meet by themselves over here. They brought all kinds of parts to sell. As you can see, there's a square back fender there, IRS tranny, and some other goodies for the day. A lot of people here bring out parts just to show other members in the club, and actually they're not for sale, but it's nice to see all the different parts that people have and accumulate for their buses.
What do you think about the paint on that bus? It sure looks original, doesn't it?
It looks like it to me. I don't think the bumpers are right, but maybe the paint looks pretty original.
That camper in the background has the side curtains off of the tent. It looks really nice that way. Makes it nice and cool. They're having a good time out there at the swap meet. They got all their parts laid out. They've even got a spare tire cover out of a later model.
That's what's nice about some of these buses. You can take some of the later model parts and utilize them on the earlier buses.
Thank you, Ken Layton. And this looks like my BMW right here being pushed in. Hey guys, how's it going? And being pushed away.
It looks like it caused quite a spectacle. Boy, everybody turned around to check that one going by. I think they're all counting the dollar signs in their head as to how much that's going to be to restore.
Steve, look at the Deluxe in the background. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a real interesting color. I've never seen the black and white combination, but it does look good. That car has safari windows, and it has the one-eyed duck in the middle where the wipers fold into. This row of buses here shows quite a variety. Look, there's Steve Hansen's camper with the chrome bumper and his restored Westphalia roof rack. That's also a nice red and white semi-deluxe in the front row there.
You know, it's just amazing. All these guys and gals show up for the SOTO meet. Anything from A to Z and in between, is that right?
That's right. There's a fine pair of barn door deluxes. The one on the left is about what they should look like. It's only ever been painted on the outside, and the inside's all original interior. The other one's the one we've been talking about.
Yeah, right.
This bus here has T-tops, which are kind of unique. I've never really seen T-tops in a bus before.
This bus here looks kind of nice. It just has the canopy on top. This is one of the colors that we were talking about. You notice it has a Westphalia roof rack on it, a pop top, and this one even has curtains in it.
The SOTO meet is also a great place to buy parts for those restorations. They come out here with rubber, chrome parts, all kinds of things that you could possibly want. Here's Howie with one of them right now.
We're talking to Bob Scott here. Bob's the owner of Vintage Volkswagen. Bob, how long have you been involved in these things?
I've been involved in Vintage Volkswagen for, let me see, about 15 years. Volkswagen started to recycle its parts, and I stood there and grabbed a lot of them. I did, really.
Now, you got a warehouse that make most people jealous. How many parts you figure you have on hand nowadays?
As far as the parts on hand, it's hard to say, but I do have a tour about once a month for some special friends and addicts of Volkswagen parts who come over and spend a day walking through the warehouse for R&R.
You also make your own parts?
Any parts I can make.
So what specials do you have for us here, Bob?
These are German, European-style headlight lenses, just manufactured especially really for us. 2 for $25, and that is a hell of a lot. Hell is a little bit yellow. These are just like crystal glass, like gold fired from the furnace.
Now, where'd you have these made?
Germany. They say it could be East Germany, Taiwan. I don't know. No, they are German. They're gorgeous.
Those are gorgeous. You're also reproducing taillights, aren't you?
Oh, damn. I don't have them here today, but I do have reproduced the taillights we have them now, 56 through 61, and they are something. Yeah, they're nice.
Now, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you or get a hold of your catalog, how would they do that, Bob?
Call me at 818-352-2833. And I'll send you a catalog. Just call me and I'll send one.
Now, that's in Sunland, California.
Right. Yes.
Well, thanks a lot, Bob Scott, owner of Vintage Volkswagen.
Thank you, Howie, my boy.
There's a front row of buses that were there early to get in these spots. As you can see coming up, we had a special area for swap meet and all the vendors that came in.
One of our vendors is Gary Longworth from KDF Enterprises in Glendale, California. He and his wife come to many of the meets, and they always bring out a lot of nice stuff. Hi, Gary.
That's right, Steve. We got a whole bunch of people here. Yeah, same to you, too, Zelda. Anyway, KDF Enterprise is always making a great splash here at the SOTO events.
Along with KDF, there was many other vendors out there. The bus boys from Redding, California drove down these two really nice double cabs. They have their usual display of their transmission and front end parts. They have all the parts you could possibly need to make your Cowlick bus a goer.
Yeah, these guys specialize in lowered bugs and lowered spindle mounts, I think, for the front ends. And I tell you what, they come loaded for bear every time they come out to one of these events. And we also have some other vendors that venture all over the world for different kinds of things. Like this guy right here, Chris Morley. He gets early reproduction parts like that Hebmuller hood and other split window and early oval window parts and rare parts from all over the world.
Dino, you're not kidding. I happen to have went to Germany in '84 and ran across him there buying up parts. He gets his parts from all over the world.
That's right, Steve, and I understand that he just got back from Japan from the Mooney's car show over there, and it was a real great success, and he was quite a celebrity at the same time.
I bet he was.
I saw him in Brooklyn.
You're nobody unless you have your own event t-shirts. These people had everything. They had t-shirts and tank tops and bottoms. Here's the guys from Huntington Beach, the local talent group Dreams, who play frequently in Los Angeles.
Oh, well, it looks like not all the fun's had at the SOTO meet. There was some other non-Type 2 cars for sale. This little 60 convertible was really nice. It was mostly original paint. I think it sold pretty quick. The guy was asking a reasonable price for it. This is West Coast Metric out of LA, California. They have most of the rubber for any kind of restoration you could possibly want. Lauren built this unique trailer out of a single cab. It has fold-down sides and a flip-out compartment. It works great for what he does in his business. He's able to pull his stuff to the meet, set it up in minutes, and have a good time for the rest of the day. This is a display from Tony Moore from Wolfsburg West in La Habra, California. Tony Moore has a great selection of parts. He does a lot of mail order business, so if you're back east, contact Tony Moore. You'll find his number and many of the other people here in Hot VW's magazine.
Thank you, Steve. And you know, to make these events work, it doesn't take just the vendors or the people bringing their vehicles, but the people with the parts that all seem to make it happen here at the SOTO meet. This is an excellent place to come and buy parts if you're looking to restore your vehicle.
The SOTO Club also has club t-shirts for sale. We had two varieties. We had your standard club t-shirt, and we had an anniversary t-shirt that will only be sold this year. If you're interested in buying either of these t-shirts, please contact the club.
We also have a raffle where prizes are donated by the vendors that support SOTO. We also at the same time have the car judging contest where we give away the prizes for the people that won.
Steve, how does the car show judging actually go, and how many classes do they actually have?
Well, this time we had 13 classes. We figured we'd make the year break from 52 to 61 and from 62 to 67, just going with the blinkers and the body styles.
Well, Steve, actually, how was the judging done?
Well, the judging was people's choice. Oh, there's Jeff Walters, our ex-president of the club. He's came out to the meet to see what was happening that day.
They all know him as Birdman also, don't they?
That's right. Oh, there's Barry Johnson. He does all our raffle announcing.
The raffle prizes are actually the highlight of the day. Everybody crowding around to get some last-minute excitement as some of the people there are really wound up and having a great time.
Yeah, and as we were talking about, they also do give away the judging. When the people turn in their ballots for the People's Choice judging, the ballots are all tabulated, and the results are given to Barry to announce at the raffle time.
This is a great time of day. Everybody wants to get their prizes. They want to rally around and see actually who got first, second, and third place. And it's quite a prestigious award to have any kind of a placement here at the SOTO meet, because all the voting is done absolutely by all of your peers, which makes it an outstanding event for everybody to go to, and the judging turns out to be fairly fair for everybody.
That's right, Dino. I like that way of judging too. It seems to work out fair for everyone. Here's a couple of Steve and I's buses here, 57 Deluxe and a 56 Fire Truck. The Fire Truck was in Hot VW magazine, July issue. Here's Steve and I with some of today's winners.
This is our first place winner in the working class area.
59 crew cab, seen a few modifications, got 944 rear suspension, Vanagon front brakes, Berg motor and trans. 14 6-cylinder Molly wheels, 15 by 5.5, shod with Goodyear tread. Body and paint by Jim Tusco and Elite Auto Body. Half the parts by the bus stop, the other half by Stephen Ken. Some parts fabrication by a gentleman by the name of Joe Beer, did a heck of a job helping me out. And Gene Berg Enterprises, especially for the motor and trans. They helped out a lot there too.
What'd you think about when you picked the color?
It's subtle, Steve. I like the color.
Yeah, when you told me you were going to do that, I was real thrilled with the color change. Nobody usually goes to the different change in color, but the gray sure did come out nice on this.
Yeah, we left the chrome for the Brazilian gang.
Tell us a little bit about your interior and your gauges.
Okay, as far as the interior goes, Steve, it's got an NOS speedometer cluster in it. All the gauges are VDO Vintage series with the large tack in the center. Stereo is Alpine 7272. The door panels are as close as I could get them back to original without getting too radical about it. And the seats are the factory ones, redone by a gentleman named Armando over at Tito Auto Trim. Did a great job for me.
It sure looks like it.
Are you kidding?
I really like it a lot.
Tito's a genius.
Tell us a little bit about the engine, Dave.
Okay, Steve. The motor, both motor and trans were built by a guy named Crazy Ray Walker out of Downey. The motor's pretty much a blueprinted Berg unit. It's got his forged crank in it. His head work done to it. It's got dual springs. It's got the hardened push rods. Berg's manifold and carbs with the special Venturis. His linkage. It's got a Volkswagen factory alternator that puts out 80 amps, which, you know, is far better and far better quality than the Motorola unit. It's got a recurved German 009, stainless lines, and a modified S&S exhaust on it.
Pretty clean for a daily driven vehicle. You just go in there and wipe it off every once in a while?
Shoot it down with the hose is all it really needs, Steve.
I'm Dan Perry. I'm from Chandler, and this is my 59 Deluxe. It's a 96,000 original mile car that we've kind of massaged and brought back. Not totally original as far as the way it sits today, but the restoration is as original as we could get it. It's a walkthrough with a narrow middle seat, 36 horse engine. Chassis number is 420 something. Added the safaris and I added the ambulance fan, and other than that, it's as it was delivered.
And your interior came out pretty nice. That's all original, right?
Yeah, that's an original interior. Out of most of the interior pieces did come out of this bus. Some of them I got real lucky and found a uncut center mat that wasn't new, but that came out real nice. And it's just as new as I could get it.
I don't think I've ever seen one that was restored much better. Note the heat pleats on the door panel. When you're restoring one of these cars, you can't duplicate that real easily. There's an original dealer's brochure and an original owner's manual, and also the trophy that he won that day. It has the sunroof, very nice job on the headliner. The interior is an original interior that was never damaged. It has been dyed to match the colors of his door panels. You note the safari windows and the dash treatment. Has a nice Blaupunkt radio. This is an ambulance fan that came in a lot of different vehicles. You were able to order it extra on your bus, and it's just two fans inside there that help blow the air through when your car's not moving. He still hasn't gotten most everything finished, but 90% of it's there. Note the detail around the window frames and around the doors. The screws and everything look really nice onto it. He's done a really nice job on everything. He was really, really careful to pay attention to finding out everything he needed to know about restoring this bus to its original form. The box underneath the dash there is the vibrator for the Blaupunkt radio. He went and got white wall tires for it. The motor he rebuilt himself. That's the first time he's ever done a motor. He took all the screws, nuts, and bolts from the original motor and had them plated instead of buying the reproduction ones. This particular bus is a 59, but it's a early 59 with the taillights taller than most of them. Usually the taillights are down one whole distance from where they're at now. Deluxe buses came with the sunroof and the little windows. For $150 extra, you could order without. As you can see, the detail doesn't stop in the interior. His motor is A1. He spent much time having things powder coated and making sure that he found all the right parts to make this car what it is today. Note the hole in the rear apron. These buses were crank start. This particular one doesn't have the crank in it, but there's a little flap in the sheet metal and a little nut on the bottom of the motor. You slip the crank through there and you can start the car right from the back if you have a dead battery. This was really handy. I've often thought of adapting it to a later model bus just for those times when you're in trouble when your battery's dead. This is truly a beautiful bus. One of the finest restorations I've ever seen. He's found so many of the hard-to-find parts. The aluminum and rubber trim on the deluxe bumpers are very hard to find. Note, this is an Arizona historical vehicle. He lives in Arizona and brought this out just for this meet.
Ryan Haycock, Fountain Valley.
And how much time and work do you have in the bus, and do you like it when you're done?
I have about 14 months, and yeah, I definitely like it now that I'm done.
And how, any work to the motor or anything special, or is it all bone stock basically, other than the color and the lowering?
It's completely stock, just 1500, just chromed.
They usually work out the best. Do you use it for a daily driver?
Semi-driver, drive it on the weekends, sometimes after school, in the afternoon.
That way it doesn't get stolen.
Never leaves the garage, unless I'm not, unless I don't leave it.
And how'd you get the front end lower? Did you buy Busboys equipment or do your own, or?
Yeah, we have Busboys all the way around, front and rear.
Well, that's good. That makes for a nicer ride and makes everything work out real well. What about your interior? Who did your interior work on that?
Classic One in Santa Ana. Used to be VW Restore.
I like that.
Yeah, they do a nice job. They know what they're doing now. They've done so many of them. And what color is that? Do you have a name for it, or?
Yeah, it's a light lemon yellow. It's the closest I could find to Corvette yellow in the paint I wanted.
And you had all the chrome and everything polished on it?
Yeah, we had it, all the chrome polished and all the metal dipped and chromed.
And was it in pretty nice shape when you got it? And what year is it?
It's a 65. It was in decent shape. When we bought it, all the parts came with it, and the body was pretty straight. The front end was pretty dented, but it was fixed by Ron Jones in orange.
Right, handcrafted metals. Yeah, they do really nice work. Yeah, it shows too.
He painted it also.
Yeah. You put all new rubber and everything in the bus, pretty much, and the Safaris?
Everything's new. All the rubber's new from Wolfsburg West, and the Safaris we bought over at Bus Stop.
Yeah, they're usually the ones that do the Safaris. Did they install them or just set you up with them and then you took them out and had them put back in when you painted them?
Well, they set them up, they installed them, then we took them out and had to have them repainted to match the white on top.
Yeah, they came out pretty nice. They look real good. This is one nice bus. It offers a little bit of the cow look and a little bit of the stock. Buses like this are really appealing because they do follow along the stock lines. The color may not be stock, but it sure does go nice with this bus. VW Restore, or Classic Number 1 as they're known now, have been around for quite a while. The same guy, Francisco, has been doing all their interiors. This one here is no exception to the quality of the work that they do. This bus has had nice bodywork. Ron Jones at Handcrafted Metal does excellent work, as you can see with this car. The color combination, the engine, everything flows so nicely. It's hard to find one as nice as this one here. They come around only once in a while. This guy really knew what he wanted when he did it and did a nice job when they finished it. I bet it drives real nice with all the updated running gear and everything. The other bus parked next to it is the same color.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hamill. I run the bus stop when I'm not at work, just for something to do in my spare time. This is one of my cars that I brought down today. 64 panel van I picked up in Seattle. Nice original condition. And just out here having a good time today.
You got this from the original owner?
Second owner, but it was well cared for. 120,000 original miles. Always garaged and serviced the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, what the best part about this car is it spent most of its time out of California, so it has no reason really to look like this.
Yeah, it was one that escaped the elements, that's for sure.
Definitely well taken care of. The interior's all original?
Yeah, as far as I can see, it's not much to it in the panel, but the cab's all original, and the cargo area is barely scratched. He definitely wasn't hauling around any boat anchors in this thing.
Most of the paint is original, right?
It's been touched up here and there, but it's basically the way it came.
Yeah, it looks nice. I love that color. What are we going to call that today?
Well, this is called Gumby.
Appropriately so. Panel vans were used quite heavily in the work area. To have one this nice is quite exceptional. Usually they were beat and banged around and driven by so many people in a company that they were never treated quite right. This one was definitely privately owned. Well, we're here at home in Charlie's 60 camper, and we'd like to ask you a couple questions about this bus, Charlie.
Sure, Steve. Well, this is the one I call the time capsule because it's so original. It's just the way it was 20 years ago. I got it from the son of the original owners about 6 months ago, and apparently they bought it new back in '60, went camping in it, drove it all over the states, and the whole time they kept it serviced. They kept a diary every time they put gas in it, every time they had the oil changed, and they drove it through the 60s, and about 68, 69 they pretty much parked it. It's got 62,000 original miles right now, and it's the first 50,000 were logged between 60 and 68. So like I say, it's the name fits. It's pretty much the way it was 20 years ago.
You pursued this bus for a while to buy it too, didn't you? You seen this about, what, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, back 3-4 years ago when we first got into it, the guy, the son of the owners, was driving it around, and a friend of mine saw it, and I got the number, and the man came by and showed it to me, but he wasn't ready to sell it yet, and I said, well, if you ever want to sell it, give me a call. And 4 years later, I get a phone call from the guy saying he's ready to sell it, and I just about wanted to jump through the phone to get it. I was so excited.
Well, yeah, you jumped right in the car and took off as fast as you could and went up there and made sure it looked the same and then bought it.
Yeah, that's true. When I first looked at it, I really didn't realize how nice it was, and the man that had it at the present lived in Fresno, so we drove up to Fresno, and as soon as I pulled up in the driveway, I knew I was going to drive it out of there.
Oh, I can't blame you. I probably would have driven it out of there too, especially for the price.
Yeah, it was a deal, but it's in good hands now, and it'll be preserved as long as I can keep my hands on it.
There are many campers still left, but this one is very cherry. This guy bought a few little extras for it too. Note the radio with the key holder. You can take and unlock the key and take the radio out and play it as a portable also. There's also a compass, tissue holders. This guy kept all the salt and pepper. I mean, everything that could have been used to go camping. Utensils, pots, pans. This thing is stocked to the max.
We'll be out there tomorrow.
This bus had a lot of other features too. It has the 30-gallon water tank with the optional electric pump to the sink. It has the ice box and has all the things that make this a complete bus. The curtains are even original in this thing, and usually they've fallen apart by now. That seat upholstery in the red check is what they should have had in '60. Note the bowl with all the stuff inside of it there. This bus still has the original carpet that came with the Westphalia. There's also the bag with the tent poles in it. Note the fold-up table and the white door panel instead of wood. This bus has its original rack. It's kind of strange where the guy mounted his antenna at, but I guess if you put safari windows in, it wouldn't be in the way. This bus is all original all the way around. Doesn't that paint look good? Also still has the original black and yellow license plates on it. The driver's side's straight too, isn't it? Note the square mirrors that the guy put on for extra visibility. Also behind the vent is the optional plug-in for the outside. This bus truly is a nice original bus. Just like Charlie says, the time capsule from 20 years ago.
Going from the time capsule to present day, here we see the bus boys and some of their machinery. We see this beautiful 67 bus that was featured in Hot VW magazine about a year ago, and this is Ross Harmon's 67. What a choice-looking vehicle.
Sister car to his.
Now here we take you over to Steve with the second place class winner.
Camper class was camper class, yeah.
Ed Hughes, Santa Ana, California.
And what year is your bus?
1953.
And this originally belonged to Tom Landau's back east, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
And basically all it's been is repainted. Most of the interior is original, right?
All the interior is completely original. Seats, upholstery, headliner. Outside was repainted about 10 years back. Just mostly cosmetic.
The original motor, and has anything been done to that?
Right now it's got a 36-horse motor. I'm putting a 25-horse in pretty soon that I just got putting together. So after that it'll be completely original.
This is one nice example of a 53 Deluxe. The interior is very original in this bus. Note that the door panels were tan and the seats were black with red piping. What a strange combination. The barn door buses didn't have a rear door. They had the tall deck lid. In a barn door bus, all the glass was bigger, including the back window. If you notice on any of the other barn doors that were in this video, they have a small window. Those are semaphores. They were used in the European country as turn signals. Note that there's no front blinkers or no rear blinkers on the car. When semaphores were used, they were the only things that were used. To have a Deluxe like that, in that condition being a barn door, is truly amazing. There's a lot of amazing buses out at this show. Ross Harmon's camper is one truly fine example of a camper. This bus is a 1967 that he purchased from the original owner many years ago. It's only ever been painted on the outside once. Ross is very particular about the parts he uses on this car. There isn't anything that isn't original. You can notice he works for ABC. The curtains in the bus are what the original ones would have looked like for that year. This bus has backup lights that shows that it's a later 67. You can see the block-off plate and no radio on the inside of the car. It looks like Ross chose the shift extension to reach the shifter a little bit better. Underneath the sheepskin covers, the seats are very perfect condition. The only thing that Ross does is keeps the sheepskins on just to keep them from being damaged. The original door panels, floor mat, everything is in excellent shape. Note the in and out steps on this car. They were made by Volkswagen of America and came out around 1966 or 7. Another Deluxe. There's another Deluxe. There's Deluxes all over the place at this meet.
There's Deluxes everywhere! Come on, Ken, let's take a hike and get the heck out of here.
Go, Dino. We'll be back next year.
Welcome with Steve Nye, the current president of SOTO. How'd this first year of being president of SOTO go for you?
Oh, it was real hectic at first, getting the club put back together and getting all the loose ends taken care of, and then I had them all tied up, and then the accident happened, and I got burnt and started all over again, and now I had a bad back injury and had to go into new schooling and training, and I'm starting all over again with the club. Got a little behind because I was going back to school and having to keep up a grade average and everything else, and now I'm back on track again and hope this goes. The meet came out pretty good today. I was really happy with it, and hope everybody else was too.
Now, a lot of people don't know about the accident you had. It's kind of a freak thing. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I have a 58 Deluxe Combi that was just about finished, and I was working on the last thing about 2 days before the meet. The fuel reservoir tap, which was an NOS one, had started to leak, and it was dripping all over the place. And I climbed up underneath there to redo it, and somehow a spark happened, and the car blew up, and I got to go with it. I got my hands, arms, and part of my face burnt, but that's pretty much behind me now, and I'm on my way to bigger and better things.
It was pretty severe. When I saw you you were really badly burned. I'm really glad you recovered. Now, on today's meet, I've never seen so many buses. This was a record today, or what do you think?
Well, I haven't really heard the official count. I was busy doing other things, but I'd say we ran in the 300-400 range today, pretty much, and that's a good turnout for an anniversary meet, and anniversary meets generally tend to be bigger than the rest, so it was a good turnout. I was real happy with it, really happy.
Now, if people want to join SOTO, what should they do? How do they go about doing this?
Well, we have an ad in the back of Hot VW's magazine that runs monthly with all the information in it, and if you see our booth at any of the meets, we usually have applications and stuff with us, so you can go ahead and either grab one there or send in to the address and we'll send you information out on it. And basically that's about it. Once you get into it, we offer free advertisement and free, you know, if you want to sell your car or whatever, try to offer a bunch of helpful hints and lighthearted stories from the readers, and it's just generally a fun thing.
Do you have to own a bus?
No, we have an associate member clause, which you don't have to own a bus if you don't want to, and we get a lot of late model owners that come in for the same reason, because they don't happen to have a bus, but they still want to get involved in the club and still want to learn what it's about, and so we offer an associate member thing for that.